that. It's not a mystery, but
Okay, welcome to,
everyone has the same consultants, so there's really, they didn't add much.
go ahead whenever you're ready.
Okay, great. Okay, so again, thank you for having FGM Architects here. We certainly appreciate the opportunity. We understand the format is 15 minutes and then 15 minutes of Q&A. So with that, we'll jump right in, but if there's something you're compelled to ask as we're going along, go ahead and do that. So again, Brian Wright, I'm the principal in charge for the project, but also our Director of Municipal at FGM Architects. A little bit about our team. We have JSD on our team, we have Ari Smith on our team, and we also have Raymond D. Chateau on our team, which is a very similar makeup to some of the other teams that we're presenting, which is why I'm flying solo. And my colleague, Andrew Mayo, who will be the project manager, is a Brookfield resident. His wife teaches at Glen Rose Elementary, so we are certainly familiar with the area through Andrew. We are, a little bit of our firm intro. So FGM is, we are located in Milwaukee, and we also have 8 offices nationwide. We have over 200 individuals that are working with us, and one of our differentiators is that this is our specialty of municipal architecture, in particular public safety. We speak at Station Design Conference, we speak at FDIC, we speak at all the locations that your end users are at. We're also part of WCMA, ICMA, so we speak to those issues. The firm's been around for a very long time, founded in 1945, and again, this is a local team that would be servicing your project. So I think one of the largest differentiators for us is that in the nation, we have, we work nationally, and we have over 600 fire and EMS projects, as well as 50 plus public works projects. We are public safety experts. This is all that our group does, and I think that some of the firms that you've selected have some public works experience and have some fire experience, but no one has that. So one of the things that really differentiates us, again, we're speaking nationally at the conferences, and one of our main differentiators and concerns is the health and safety of your end users, the fire department as well as the public works. We've engineered and designed our buildings around this concept of hot zone design, which I'll define a little bit later, but based on evidence-based design, we are changing the conversation of how fire stations and public buildings are designed. The fire department in particular, the firefighters are getting cancer at a rate 3.5 times the national average. They're bringing pollutants in through ingestion, respiration, etc., and they're bringing these contaminants into the building. One of the things that we're doing is designing the building differently to keep those contaminants out of the living spaces so that they're not bringing it into their bunk room, they're not bringing it into the day room, and they're certainly not bringing it home to their families. That's not something that we take lightly. We're speaking on that nationally. We're very proud of that fact. We're also working, as the lower slide you can see, on systems that change the experience of the firefighters at night. One of the components of the project is the bunk room through alerting systems, but also some of the lighting that we do. We're trying to create an environment that's very calming and very safe for the firefighters in particular, who stations that don't have alerting systems have an incredibly higher rate of heart attack from the jarring nature of that experience. A little bit of lag here, sorry. So we wanted to start with some recently completed or projects that are well underway at this point. So we do have projects that are similar to the scope and nature of this project. So we're leading with Ledgeview, the town of Ledgeview. We did not only a brand new public works facility, but also a town hall, which had a community space but also a fire component. This skipped ahead a little bit, so I'm gonna go back. A little bit difficult with this methodology. We also work with the Village of Caledonia. This just opened. Again, a large station, large combined facility with police and fire. It just opened this January, so there are tours of that we'd love to take you on. One of the things that particular plan has that comes into play with some of the stations we're designing is if you look at the bottom here, you see the individualized bunk rooms. You also see the day room and the kitchen at the top. The idea there is that we're creating spaces coming out of COVID. One of the things that we'll wrestle with on this project is the air control. And coming out of COVID, we went with more individualized control for obvious reasons with COVID. But as we got out of COVID, what we're finding is that individuals really like the individualized control. And so we're largely, changing that conversation. And we have different scenarios that we can work through with your team to find the right fit for your project. The next project is the city of Cudahy. We chose this one. This is under construction right now. It's close by. And it has bunk rooms on the second floor. And one of the things we noticed in the RFQ was that potentially there's thoughts of bunk room on the second floor. So we have that experience. Here's a project that we can go and tour together. So, sorry again for that little bit of a lag. It's not me adjusting. I'm pushing the button. I did want to sort of, as I hope that it continues, one of the major components again of the project is the kitchen. The idea that it's the second home. It's the location where individuals can come and congregate. So we're really designing those spaces, to feel like that second home. It's inviting, it's branded, it has the logo, it's a place where they can all sit together at once. The size is something that we would determine together, but the idea is, you'd have, refrigerators for each shift, cabinets for each shift, and those sort of things would be incorporated into that conversation, as well as the day room, that environment, making that environment as calming as we possibly can. Next slide, when it comes up, is of the bunk rooms. Many, many different styles. I talked about the individual rooms. This is an individual room with the ability to study, but then also this one doesn't go all the way to the ceiling. Many of the conversations we have, we end up going to the ceiling for that individualized control. Again, these are the sort of things that we would walk through with your team to make sure we're getting the right mix. The other piece of the RFQ that was really compelling is we designed many, many firehouses with training components in the stairs. We talk about confined space. We talk about standpipe training. We talk about rappelling. All of this that you see, these are all from our buildings. And the reason I'm bringing that up is that one of the elements in the RFQ that we wanted to speak to was really this piece, this training piece. So there's a balance of cardio, there's a balance of free weights, there's a balance of machines. And the idea is that they're going to lift here, they're going to train, whether they're training on-site or off-site. The idea is that we're providing that kind of space for them to be ready to serve the public. In regards to some of the public works projects, I mentioned the town of Ledgeview. I think it's relatively similar in scope. You see here, you see the number of bays, the mezzanine, pre-engineered metal building. It's a very normal solution, and just sort of pointing out that that's also what we bring to the table. A very successful project for that town. Next slide is another public works garage. Whether if we need to incorporate some cold storage, we certainly bring all of those needs to the discussion. I think in regards to our experience, I think many of the firms would have a very similar approach to the project, meaning we start with listening, we start with a study and space needs and develop a program. We then put a budget to the program. I don't think that's necessarily a differentiator for any firm. We work with all sorts of delivery methods, whether it's a construction manager or it's regular design, bid, build with a contractor. We are familiar with all of those delivery vehicles. We work and partner with them all the time. We bring that to each project. This project is similar to a lot of our projects where we have to remain in operation 24/7. This is something we're doing quite a bit with other departments. And we either do temporary housing or we do locations. We also do multiple phasing, and we sit and we work with your team on developing a scenario that works to remain in operation. It sounds complex, but it's something we're doing every day. Design considerations that we bring, again, in terms of how we look at a building. We're looking at NFPA standards in terms of our response time. So we're looking at how are we maneuvering the building to get through that building, to get out on that floor as quickly as possible, and then out, on the street as quickly as possible. So here's an analysis that we've done of response times. These are the sort of fire specialty items that we bring to bear. We also look at the NFPA standards. The occupational hazard of being a firefighter is itself an occupational hazard. Just being one is an occupational hazard, which is why we're so committed to developing solutions that work with that hot, warm, cold design that we talked about, which is to keep the contaminants out of the living spaces. This is something that we hold very dear and have a lot of conversations. I think we walk into fire stations, public works all the time, where they don't have those intermediate zones. Those individuals, those firms are putting people at risk, which is why we are dedicated to protecting the protectors. Also, sleep hygiene, I talked about that a little bit earlier, the idea of that alerting system, trying to keep the right environment. Because we do so many firehouses, these are some of the things that we would love to talk to you about. The other piece that may be of interest to you, besides things like our 3D design scenarios, our ability to bring 3D solutions, our ability to talk about sustainability, whatever those items are. We have net zero buildings, we have LEED gold buildings. But the other piece that we kind of work with is referendum support. If that's important to you, we work with you to develop a series of documents to help drive that project further along. We work with a consultant that's local to the area. We'll hold community engagement meetings to make sure that the community understands some of the issues that we're dealing with. It's part of that educational piece as well. And if it's important to you, it's important to us. And we also have elements of helping you develop a marketing campaign, whether it's drawings, animations, etc. Whatever you need to drive that project forward, we're here to help. I'm hoping that I touched on some things in the 15-minute section. I want to stay with that. We really think are some of our differentiators. I think there's 4 firms you're going to hear from, all of whom have some public works experience, all of whom have some fire experience. None of them are going to have 600. And none of them are as invested as we are as a differentiator to speaking nationally on the health, safety, and welfare of the firefighters and public works end users to make sure that we're doing what we can to protect the protectors. With that, I thank you for the 15-minute slot, and I turn it over to you for any questions.
Thank you. Questions?
I got a question. You are a very large and successful company. You're doing things like, when you talk about assistance with the, with getting the referendums through and things like that, it's huge. That's, and you have the ability to do that. My point is, are we big enough to matter to you?
You certainly are, yeah.
We are not this is not a $5 million, $8 million project.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna be a $2.5 million project. How
Right.
important is that to you guys? Because it seems like all the things that you have available are great for large fire departments that have full-time employees. We are a volunteer fire department. Look at our facilities right here.
Sure.
We are nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
And we're trying to take it to a different level. But why would we interest you? I'm concerned about
It's
that.
very simple. We're not speaking nationally so that we can necessarily get the biggest project. We're trying to protect the protectors. We're speaking nationally so that we can save lives. And if you have lives that are out there, we wanna make sure your station's done right. That's what we bring to the table.
Did you
Go
have
ahead.
a chance to figure out the cost per square foot or?
Yeah, I think you're gonna hear very similar things. I think the pre-engineered buildings and, new construction are going to fluctuate. You know, our fee, you know, we listed at 6.8, we listed at 6.5 in our response, which I think is, among the lower of the four that you looked at. So, cost efficiency wise, I think we're the right choice in regards to saving money that way. But more importantly, I would love for you to make the decision based on the qualifications.
Yeah, I get clarification. What is he talking about? Six
Can you
point five?
turn your
Yeah.
thing on?
What's he talking about?
Speak into it.
Oh, each firm was asked, I believe, to list their potential fee should the projects move forward,
Mhm.
and so they did, and that's what we listed.
It's
You're listening.
6.5% of the cost of the road construction.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. Which is among the lowest of the four. So we don't want to lose a project that's important to us, based on fee. We hope that you base that on our qualifications. We're right here in Milwaukee. This is our community. Again, Andrew is right in Brookfield. And, you know, I hope that answered your question. We care about doing fire stations, public works the right way. And what I would ask is that you don't take my word for it. You call up Caledonia. The best thing I could say is nothing. Let them say it. If you need a reference, these would be excellent references. And this building just opened, so you can literally tour it. We'd be happy to take you through it, or privately as well.
Did they require a referendum for that you helped with?
They had funded things differently. They ended up, they bonded it and they had more upfront planning. We only bring it up because we're not sure of the procurement vehicles, et cetera. We just wanted to bring up that we do help with those sort of things all the time.
It's probably not easy to get back to in your slides, but you had a DPW building that's about 13,000 square feet. I don't recall which community that one was.
It was
compared to be
Ledgeview.
comparable.
Yeah,
Was it? Okay.
yeah, Ledgeview, yeah.
Compared to be comparable to what we expect ours to be here. It showed like a $2-point-something million number, but that was in, I think it's
Yeah,
in
that was a couple years
2018.
ago, yeah. I
So
think,
where
you
do
know,
you think that one falls today?
Yeah, I think we would work through that as a team, but I think you're looking, and again, it depends on what you're putting in there. You're looking at that as low as 125, realistically, probably, in that 150 to 175 range. And then fire, again, this is also a remodel, so it's a little bit trickier that way when you're talking about that kind of building, or this building. You could be 300, you could be 350, depending on what we put in it, you could be 400, 450. So we would need to vet that out. What I would think is that the design solutions are really, a lot of it is dictated on the construction costs at the time. So there are decisions that we make to influence that, of course. I'm not sure that the difference in cost would really vary widely from firm to firm. I think the real sort of solution will come from the ability to listen and the ability to carve out a solution that keeps people safe.
Yeah, I guess I was asking more on the side of the building that you had as an example up there.
Yeah.
What would that cost today? Because that had a 2018
Yeah.
sticker on it.
Yeah, I mean, it would probably be in that 175 range, or maybe in that range. A lot of factors. It was a very large site, so say there's a lot of site cost that was embedded in that particular one.
Okay, anybody else, questions?
Yeah, Bob, I
Go ahead.
So some of the fire department facilities that you have done, like, maybe like this size, you haven't done anything like this size for like being us or a volunteer site now, trying to get some paid and in-house people staying on board here?
Yeah.
How many have you done around like something like that we're looking at right now?
Yeah, so I mean, the one that I showed of Ledgeview, they have a large, volunteer, they're in the stage of, later this year, we might go back and add on again, as they make that transition, to several full-time. So, I mean, the short answer is we've done many. It really doesn't necessarily change how we approach it, which again is the, really listening to your needs and working through those solutions. We're doing it all the time. We're working with Cedarburg right now, programming their facility, and they have an enormous group of volunteer firefighters. So,
Thank you.
and on the public works side, we're working with Shorewood Hills on a very similar solution as well. In fact, in that one, if that one won't be new, we'll be adding on to that one.
Do you do a lot of additions, or is it all?
Yeah,
you do?
all the time, yeah. Like I just mentioned, Shorewood Hills will be adding on to their public works with an additional section of public work fleet. They have a village hall police component where we'll probably add on. So we're adding on, we do additions and renovations all the time.
The DPW building, is there different configurations people are doing these days? Like a pole barns type with metal, or are they going all concrete, stone?
Sure, I think we are seeing a lot of pre-engineered buildings because it's a cost-effective solution, to some of the points or questions earlier. We've done precast, we've done block and brick. It really depends on the community, it depends on where it's going, it depends on the budget.
Okay. I guess we kind of been kicking that around a little bit as far as what the budget would be for that.
Sure, yeah. I think a
There's
lot of
pros
it,
and cons of both, I guess, but.
there's definitely pros and cons of both. I think that as the study or that space needs component evolves, that one of the first tasks would be to put a budget together, and that generates a conversation in regards to where we really want to be at and what are some of those options, and we'll help lead through that process.
Yep. Anything else, anybody? Okay, thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
I said
Our
we
pleasure.
decided to do this on a face-to-face basis with everybody. I thought it was fairer that way, and
Yeah,